Joining us now are Peter and Christopher, and we're going to be talking about real estate, in particular the northern area of New Jersey, but wherever you are in the world, it will apply to you. Welcome to the show. How are you guys?
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Thanks
nice
for
to see
having
you
us.
again too. We got to meet over the summer briefly, which was so much fun. I got to learn about your friendship and I guess your style of working together, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like The Odd Couple, because obviously both of you are like, both clean freaks, right? But tell us what it's like on a day-to-day basis. Why is it important to have a business where you have a friend?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I think in a industry like real estate, like a lot of industries right now, it's stressful and there's a lot of changes going on. So if you don't love what you do, work-wise, you want to love what you do. You also want to love who you do it with. So we both have different personalities, and I think we bring different strengths to the table, especially on a team. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think we complement each other. We actually share an office. And I guess I'd be the messy one in the office if you look at my desk. But we kind of balance each other, which is pretty cool. Pete can be a little more high-strung. I try to keep things a little even-keeled. So it works. Like we've been working together for 5 years now. And I can honestly say we've never had like an argument or anything.
No.
That's
so
good.
it's pretty cool.
And don't start now. Arm wrestling.
And
This table's great for.
We've driven to Long Island together a couple times. So,
I know those long drives. I believe that it's all about trust. No matter what type of culture you have, no matter, if you can trust somebody that you work with, it's so much better. You spend so many hours of your life working, so it might as well be with good people, right? Hopefully you've noticed that. You've noticed our team. We have a really great, amazing family here at the TV show, which is a lot of fun. Why real estate? And well, first of all, you said it's stressful right now. It's kind of cyclical, right? Doesn't real estate just like really great times of a lot of money, and then it's stressful, and then this, and then that, and then the interest rate, and that. Like, tell me about that. What is that like?
Real estate, and there's a why real estate, but then there's real estate. So real estate in general, what I love about it, it is cyclical, but you have a wonderful opportunity to have buyers and sellers. So there's a buyer's market where the rates may be lower and people are looking, and sellers may or may not be getting more. There's also a seller's market where there's more buyers and and less homes, which is what we're seeing right now. So it's not like certain industries where there's just or commodities where there's one way of doing things. You've got buyers and sellers, and then you have the market. So there's always an ebb and flow. And I always think there's value in everybody having the real estate license, because at one point or another, most people buy a home. So we do it professionally, but I love that balance of the market.
Do you find that? Do you find sometimes homeowners will go and get their license just because they think that they're going to do it as a FSBO, which is a for sale by owner, but then they call you and they're like, all right, Peter and Chris, like we are way in over our heads.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
We do see that now in a market like this. People think, oh, this is easy, I can do it. But with every transaction comes its challenges, and that's why we feel your best bet is to hire a real estate professional to guide you through the process.
It's one of the biggest decisions that we make if we're lucky enough to actually be homeowners someday, right? Because not everybody can even qualify to be a homeowner. But once you get to that point and you find out, I guess you get pre-qualified, you go to the bank, you say, how much can I possibly afford in a house? Then they come to you. Do you like it when they do that? Do you like when buyers take that first step and they kind of know what they're pre-qualified for?
Why don't you start this?
Because that could be a nightmare. I think that could be a nightmare. Show me a $500 million home that I could never afford, right?
Right. So it's necessary to be pre-approved. So when I meet somebody for the first time, that's usually the first question I ask. And I want them asking me questions because it's my job to guide them through the process. But I don't want to show them a house until they're pre-approved, because they may think that they can afford this, and then we show them this, but in reality they can afford this. So I'd rather them go through get that heavy lifting out of the way early, know what you're pre-approved for, but also know what you're comfortable with. Because just because you're pre-approved to buy a $600,000 home, you may only be comfortable buying a $400,000 home, because everybody's risk tolerance is a little different, right? And I always tell people, listen, it's not me. You're the one that has to go to sleep at night.
Right.
So everybody has their own set of pressures and things that they want to, that they feel like they can handle. Other people like to, be further out on the risk curve. Other people are very conservative. So it's about really knowing what the client wants and then helping guide them in the right direction. I tell people it's not my job to sell you a home, it's my job to educate you so that when the right home comes along, you know it.
Right, and you have to act fast though, because the inventory is small. So you need to be ready, like, to make an offer. You can't be like, let me think about it, let me ask my parents, let me have my best friend over, let me have Aunt Martha over. No, it's like you need to be like, go for it, right?
Chris
Or else
and
you're
I
going to lose it.
We just had this conversation
Okay.
this week. It's really a lot of joy comes from working with buyers right now. It sounds on our side as agents. You've got the homes, you've got the listing, we handle that side. The home usually goes quick, we'll take them through the transaction. But the relationships that you're creating right now, it's not that we don't have them with the sellers, we do. It's just it's quick. Now you're working with the buyers, and because it's so emotional, or it takes long, or we have to prepare them, that's where the true value and joy comes in, and we just talked about that this past week.
Yeah.
If you're getting ready to sell your home, what's one tip that a lot of people don't take that you feel like they should? What's a good step as a seller?
You need to have a plan, okay? You can't wing it, right? So when we meet with people, it's always about, okay, what's your timetable? What are your goals here? Why are you selling? And then usually we kind of back into that timeline that's going to be most effective. If somebody says, well, I want to be out of here. I don't want to spend another winter around here. I want to go someplace south. Okay, then we have to work backwards. Okay, so maybe you want to stay here through the holidays, but by January you want to be out of here. Okay, so in order to get you there, we want to list your home like this month, in this case. But if I would have met with somebody like a month or two ago, I'd say, okay, well, we have the next 6 to 8 weeks to work on getting your house ready. You want to get it decluttered. You want to depersonalize it, things like that. This way we are ready. And as soon as you tell me you're ready, we have a photographer in within 48 to 72 hours, and we have your home on the market in the following week.
Are people using stagers still in Morristown? Yes?
We just
Okay.
saw an uptick in that
Okay.
recently too. And because my biggest tip is people get focused on their house.
Right.
My big tip is when you have even though the inventory is low, go find some other homes that buyers are going to look at in addition to your home and get a feeling from a buyer's perspective what they're going to look at.
Oh,
'Cause
great.
Then it's easier to come back
Comparing,
and say,
right, apples
compare.
to apples
And
instead
it's not
of,
going
right.
online, it's
Right.
going to visit, it's looking at curb appeal, it's looking at the neighborhood, the community. And then you usually say, okay, do we need to stage? Do we need to virtually
Plant a
stage?
bulb.
Yep, we need to, but now you're really looking, you're not just focused on your home, you're focused on the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good advice, because I really never thought about that. I might have gone to different listings, and things like that, but never
Yeah.
really thought about going.
you're selling.
Or going to an open house,
Right.
and as long as you sign in at an open house, it's all on the up and up. You could say to them, I'm selling my house too, I'm looking at yours, it's an
Absolutely.
open house, it's
Happens
open
all
to the
the time.
public, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Window
And
shopping.
You want to know what the competition is. You want to know what you're going up against. So like when I meet with somebody and we're going to list their house in 2 weeks or a month, they say, well, where do you want to price my house? And I said, well, if I were going to list your house today, I would recommend this.
Right.
But if 4 or 5 houses come on that are similar to yours in the next couple of weeks, we may want to get lower to position ourselves a little bit better and make us a little bit more competitive and stand out. The market is such a strong market that you can't price a home too low. You're not going to leave money on the table. You leave money on the table by pricing it too high and then having to reduce the price.
Okay. Like
'Cause-
it needs a new roof, money off. It needs a new kitchen,
You want to
money off.
factor
It
that
needs-
in when
right,
when
okay.
you're listing a house.
Okay.
Absolutely, because those are the big ticket items are the roof, the furnace, the air conditioning, things like that. So if those are up to date, that house will deserve command a premium. If they're not, if they all need to be replaced or they're at the end of their useful life, that's going to have to be factored in also.
And
And
keep
also
in
make sure
mind-
you have,
sorry.
Peter, also like COs, right? Make sure that you got your COs, like if you built a shed and you built it on your neighbor's
Yeah.
property,
Yeah.
right? You got to make sure you have a clean
Permits.
title.
Right.
You got to have your permits. You
Yes.
have to have your COs for all the extra things that you might have done after living there for 32 years,
Right.
right?
And we noticed like during COVID, a
Right.
lot of people did these projects where they didn't get permits. So,
They just built a whole other game room
yes.
or something, right?
Yes.
So-
So it's important because that stuff will, you may think you can get away with it, but when it comes time to sell, people are going to look into that. And when they do, you want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row so it doesn't delay you.
Are you open to like hosting some workshops for people and things of that nature in
All
the
the time.
community? Okay.
Yeah, Keller Williams, we have a big belief in what we do and sharing best practices, talking to people. We've helped people in our industry. We help other agents all the time with our brokerage, not with our brokerage. We just like being involved with real estate. So
Keeps us sharp, I think, right? I'm not even in the market.
It's a
but I
great
still-
industry.
Well, one of the things I like doing is I paint, I do portraits of people's homes
Right.
that they hang in their foyer. You know, I used to do it years ago for Daniel Gale, and then people were like, oh, my husband has everything. What can I get him? And they're like, I want to do one of your house portraits. I used to charge by window. So if a house had like, you know, a certain number of windows,
Okay.
it was a certain price. I'm like, oh, big mansion, yeah, how many windows? I was like, oh, I made it up as I went along, but I really enjoyed the process.
Yeah.
I love all the home shows. I'm constantly watching them, you know.
Well, if you look at one transaction, you know,
Right.
there's 250 people that are involved, from whether you're stagers, whether you're inspectors, whether you're, you know, contractors,
Movers,
closings,
yeah,
title. So I still believe that we're a big foundation of our country's, you know, financial basis. So strong market, you know, strong country.
Love that.
Yeah.
One key, but at least 250 people probably that touch that transaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, from title, from the mortgage, you know, there's so many people that are involved in a real estate transaction, you'd be surprised.
Well, it's nice to have you guys here once again. It's
Thank
nice to
you.
celebrate your friendship and your successful business, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for
Stay
having us.
tuned. We've been living it up with Peter and Chris, and if you're looking for real estate anywhere in the whole country, call them because I'm sure that they'd be happy to talk to you about it. Be well.